Hello?
Bro, that's a gunshot, bro. That's two.
Oh, wake up, dude.
I'm really afraid of my boyfriend back. He's kicking things and threatening to throw my back.
Some nights in the wilderness feel wrong before anything even happens. From a van violently shaking on a haunted bridge in the middle of the night, to campers hearing unseen footsteps circle their tents near the site of old witch trials. Sometimes the fear isn't in your head, it's somewhere out there in the dark. So, would you stay until sunrise or leave immediately? On a cloudy night beneath a full moon, YouTuber CJ Faison from the channel CJ Faison films this video uploaded on September 15th, 2022, as he and Chris Beard drive their van onto the infamous burnt bridge. The vehicle behind him, known as the motivated van, is where they intend to remain for the entire night. They park on a haunted bridge frequently featured on his channel, a recurring location throughout the Burnt Bridge series. Every trip to Burnt Bridge, something strange and intense usually occurs. So, this night takes place during a full moon, the sky is covered with clouds, and the atmosphere already feels prepared. Local legends claim old rituals once opened something here, leaving the woods marked with an unsettling dark presence. The first signs begin with the electronics. A device inside CJ's pocket activates by itself, producing a metallic sound before he even touches it. The environment already appears to react.
Very clear. What the hell is that? I don't know. Jeez. How did that turn on in my back pocket?
Come on. There's no way.
That's weird.
You see that?
Yeah, what was that? This is getting creepy. This is getting really, really creepy.
Then, distant gunshots interrupt the silence. Two sharp echoes ring out from the nearby woods.
He's down there right now. He is getting ready to do the Estes method. Bro, that's a gunshot, bro. That's two. Now I got a car coming. Okay, so as you all can see, I repositioned the camera just a little bit. We heard gunshots. We sat here for like 10 or 15 minutes. Nothing else heard. So, if there's any spirits here on this bridge, can you let my friend Chris know what your name is first?
I said it's me.
That's Chris, way down there. The light on the right side of the bridge.
Leave.
I just heard leave. What year did you pass away and why are you here?
Trouble. Regret. You shouldn't be here.
Can you tell me your name?
It was them.
Can you go touch my friend?
I feel like someone just touched me. I thought CJ or someone was over here. That was weird. Pay attention.
Okay, pay attention to what though? What would make you upset? What if I said the word burn or fire? Does that upset you?
Stop what you're doing.
The session intensifies as a spirit box has used its static, creating a warning tone, encouraging them to stop. They eventually return to the van to rest, but the situation changes from distant to physical.
Oh, wake up, dude. The van was just swaying side to side, dude.
We should go out there and look for it.
I'm not going out there, dude.
Is the van still rocking?
Feel it. There's no way it's that windy right now. Dude, that's not a good idea, bro.
You're not going there?
No. Dude, you should not be going out there. Why don't you close the door, dude?
I ain't forcing him to do anything you don't want to do. I don't know why the camera just got blurry, but it did.
Anything?
Not
Did we just like imagine that happening or something?
There's no way. I felt like I was gonna fly in my seat.
The van starts moving side to side despite there being no wind in the area. The entire vehicle rocks violently as if something unseen is pushing it. CJ steps outside alone onto the bridge attempting to provoke a response. Almost instantly, a loud impact strikes the van a heavy hit against the window, followed by the appearance of a shadow against the glass.
Oh! Me!
What was that?
Okay. Okay.
What did you see or what did you hear? What happened?
I went and stood on the bridge. I swear on my life, Chris, I held my hands like this. I said, if there's anything good or evil here, I want to invite you to come here.
What is that?
I don't know.
Oh, it's not the van.
I'm getting to my fucking floor is what I'm doing. There's gotta be somebody, right?
You wanna go out there and look? Cause I don't.
No, I'm fucking laying in the floor. I'm not getting the fuck up until the fucking morning, Chris.
There's somebody out there, bro. I literally just looked like there was like a figure standing in the middle of the door.
Fucking A. Dude, it banged on the fucking window.
They rush back inside and lock the doors. The feeling of something outside remains strong. At one point, a figure-like shape is noticed near the door. Unable to confirm what it was, they decide not to wait until morning and leave the location immediately. Situations like this often exist between real danger and misinterpretation, where fear shapes what people experience and small details become amplified. But when multiple events happen one after another, it raises a simple question. Was this only stress and coincidence, or was something actually there watching them? This camping encounter takes place on November 28, 2024, as Moxley and Ming from Moxley Paranormal World make their way up the dark slopes of Pendle Hill.
Right, so we're heading up to our camp spot now, up into Pendle Hill for the night. Look how rocky it's getting now.
The climb is difficult as the terrain becomes more rocky, and they continue upward with plans to spend the night camping. The ground beneath them is connected to the events of the 1612 witch trials, where 10 people were accused of murder through witchcraft and later executed by hanging. The ascent is exhausting, and during the climb they discover a strange abandoned trailer containing animals in the middle of the wilderness. Its presence feels unnatural, almost like a silent warning connected to the history of the location.
What the
What the hell?
It's a van.
There's a van in front of us.
I was so nervous then walking up to this. Whoa! What is in that? Oh, that's a bit odd.
Yeah.
A trailer with an animal in it. That is very, very unusual.
Leaving that in the middle of nowhere.
I know, yeah.
The hill behind them reveals how far they have already traveled, but the discovery leaves an uneasy feeling as they continue forward. As the moon disappears from sight, a dark silhouette forms along the trail. It remains there briefly watching before fading back into the surrounding trees. The figure appears to move quickly, shifting from the path into the woods, appearing again just as suddenly as it disappeared.
What is it? It was over this side first. And it was like it moved fast through on the path behind us. And then it was in the woods. There it is again. So we were literally just finished setting everything up. Just sat down to have a quick drink. And then, just behind me, at the wall, it was like tick, tick, tick. Like something moved past. Ming, keep your torch there. Yeah. There was something moved down there then.
Right.
It was like a shadowy figure.
Right, okay.
Hello? I swear, I just seen something move down here. Looks like the silhouette of a person. Is there someone here? Is there someone back there? I know I'm not losing my mind. A silhouette of a person stood here when I looked over.
Right.
And then as soon as you put the torch over, there's nobody here.
Right.
That caught us off guard, that.
Yeah.
That really caught us off guard.
The noise, is it?
The area is checked, but nothing is found, even though the presence feels close and impossible to ignore. The atmosphere begins changing as they continue attempting communication.
Fred,
We need you to help us.
we need you to help us.
Wow.
What would you like help with? You the people that were wrongfully accused of witchcraft.
It sounds like we're surrounded. The way things are happening.
I said, we heard that earlier on. And then I seen that shadowy figure over there.
Yeah, that was down there, wasn't it?
Yeah. You said, we need you to help us. Who needs help?
Understanding.
I do have to say the silence out here it's very eerie. Not too long ago, while sat over there, you were hearing the birds chirping away, flying around.
That's what we were looking in the trees for before when we heard them
Yeah.
noises.
Police.
We're not police in the area. We're just here to communicate if we can. And you're willing to do so.
Right, we can keep hearing walking. Oh, what sounds like walking.
Right, that sounds
Mistrust.
What? What did I say?
Mistrust. That
wonder-
fit in here with the story of Pendle Hill.
Yeah.
Because she wrongfully accused her entire family.
Right.
Mistrust.
The silence of the area becomes more unsettling. Earlier, natural sounds like birds are no longer heard, replaced by an unnatural stillness. Occasional noises continue echoing through the darkness, difficult to locate and impossible to confirm visually. Words received through the device suggest mistrust, matching the historical events connected to the location. The spirit box intensifies, producing a clearer response that includes a plea for help, followed by the name of Alice Nutter, one of the individuals executed during the witch trials. As the night grows darker, a distant sound of laughter emerges near a stream, adding to the increasing tension. Back at the tent,
Right, so I literally just sat back at the tent, just talking. And that was laughing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And we heard coming from this way.
There's nothing down there because that's where the stream is.
Hear it? Hello!
the laughter is heard again from the same direction, even though nothing is visible near the water. The area remains empty, yet the sound is distinct. Soon after, the sensation of movement begins surrounding the campsite. Footsteps, cold and unseen, circle the tents while the air becomes heavier. The feeling grows overwhelming, and Moxley experiences a powerful instinct to leave the mountain immediately. Moments like this can feel real, even without clear proof, especially in a place filled with history and isolation. But when the sounds, movements, and responses all align, it leaves a simple question. Was this only the mind reacting to the environment, or was something else actually there with them? On January 17, 2023, the YouTube channel Ultra Studios uploaded a video documenting what was expected to be a simple trip into the woods. The creator had organized the outing with a friend named GT, and the mood at the beginning was relaxed and casual as they introduced the area they planned to explore. as they moved farther in the atmosphere, slowly began to shift. It happened gradually at first. They noticed different objects scattered along the ground. Empty bottles, old trash, the type of things that by themselves do not automatically suggest anything unusual. But the farther they traveled, the quieter everything became, and the trail started becoming harder and harder to follow. Then, somewhere along a narrow section of the path, they discovered something that seemed out of place. An object partly hidden from view, positioned in a way that felt strange compared to everything surrounding it. The creator stopped to get a closer look, uncertain what he was seeing. It appeared unusual, but nothing beyond that, at least for a few more steps. Farther in, within a more isolated part of the forest, the creator noticed something lying on the ground ahead. At first, it did not immediately resemble anything recognizable, not a branch, not normal debris. He stepped closer. Then the shape suddenly became clear all at once.
Whoa, what the? That's a human skull! That's a human skull right there! What the actual Bro, do you guys see this? There's a human head here! Dude, that looks real. Dude, I don't think that's a prop. That looks real. I thought it was like a ball at first. That's real. Oh no, bro. That is so creepy.
The reaction was immediate. Neither of them wanted to remain there. They backed away from the area right away, and both agreed without much discussion that the exploration was finished. They exited the forest quickly, and the weight of what they had just seen did not disappear once they were beyond the trees. The creator continued thinking about it, replaying the image of the skull, and wondering what could possibly have caused it to end up there. Based on everything publicly available, no follow-up video was ever uploaded. There is no public information explaining what the skull ultimately turned out to be, and it remains unclear whether the discovery was ever reported to authorities. Most discoveries like this usually have a simple explanation. This one never received one. What would you have done if you had been there? Monotone Adventures is a creator who spends his time biking and fishing throughout western Pennsylvania and Maryland, building his channel around the footage he records during those trips. The video in question was something he felt strongly about posting, mainly to draw attention to situations like the one he unexpectedly encountered. It was July 2015. He was traveling through a wooded section along a scenic road when he noticed a woman standing on the roadside who appeared to be in serious distress. At first, he continued past her, but something caused him to rethink the situation. It felt more serious than he originally assumed, so he turned around to check on her.
So this girl, I didn't know. She looked like she was not okay. Make sure she is okay. Are you good? What's going on?
I'm really afraid of my boyfriend back. He's kicking things and threatening to burn my bag.
Do you want me to take you somewhere? Alright. Is he driving?
He's been arrested before.
Okay. Where do you live?
I live in Tennessee.
Tennessee. I'll take you into town.
Yeah, I just need a hotel or something.
Alright. Here, put this on.
My family lives in DC, so they're only 2 hours away. I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine. Here.
I'm just gonna turn it off.
I'll hold that. Give her your jacket.
Yeah.
Huh?
Give her your jacket.
Well, we're not going that way. Well, put that on.
He's walking on the parking lot.
I know. He was trying to call me to get me to go back, and when I said I was too scared, he was like, I'm just gonna burn your fucking bag.
It's fine. Just put that on. Is it big enough? Alright, go ahead.
The woman was crying. She explained that she had escaped from her boyfriend who had become violent and was threatening her. The biker did not spend much time deciding what to do. Leaving her alone there in the middle of the woods with someone potentially dangerous still nearby was not something he felt comfortable doing. He handed her his helmet and decided to get her to the nearest town, somewhere she could regain control of the situation and hopefully find safety.
Put your hands down around my waist. Around my waist.
Sorry?
Have you been on a bike before?
No.
No, okay. I won't say it. Let's get back at the pads. Is there foot pads back there? See the foot pads?
Yeah.
Put your feet right on there.
My grandparents are in DC.
You want to call them? So we can have them meet us in Midday or something. That takes you out from DC.
Well, I mean, I would just wait there less than 2 hours.
Yeah.
Try to call them here.
Do you want to try calling them?
Any attempt to find out what happened afterward led nowhere. There are no confirmed updates about whether the bikers stayed in contact with her or what eventually happened involving her boyfriend. What is harder to question is that their choice to stop and help very likely changed the outcome for her. Alone, isolated with a dangerous person potentially searching nearby, the possible alternatives are not difficult to imagine, and none of them end well. Hopefully, one day the creator comes across the discussion and explains what happened afterward. It is also important to consider the larger point the video raises. Choosing to help someone during a moment like that can genuinely make a difference. At the same time, situations like these are not always simple, and there have been documented cases where people appearing distressed were actually part of a setup. Staying alert and carefully judging the situation is not the same as ignoring someone. It is simply being smart about how you choose to help. Most people who are truly in danger only need one person willing to stop. But knowing when it is actually safe to stop is a skill on its own. If you had been riding down that road and saw her, what would you have done? A YouTube channel called The Salongse Naga uploaded a video on November 16, 2025, documenting a deep forest expedition that ended with a discovery none of them were expecting. The channel usually focuses on remote locations, hidden caves, and places far off the map. But what they encountered this time was on an entirely different level. At the beginning of the video, the creator explained the plan. They were traveling deep into a dense jungle to investigate a location known among locals, a place connected to unusual stories and accounts that had circulated through the area for a long time. That alone was enough to draw them in. As the group moved deeper into the forest, the journey quickly became more difficult. The jungle closed in around them, the vegetation grew thick, and there was no clear trail left to follow. The farther they pushed forward, the more isolated they felt from everything else. After forcing their way through for some time, they began noticing faint signs that people had passed through before them, partial footprints, disturbed ground cover, and objects sitting where they probably should not have been. They followed the limited trail until they eventually reached a cave. Standing at the entrance, the darkness inside seemed to pull the light inward. Water dripped from somewhere above the sound, echoing across uneven stone walls. Even so, they entered. With every step forward, the passage became tighter, the ceiling lowered, and the outside light slowly disappeared behind them. They were relying completely on the equipment they had brought when they noticed the first bones lying on the ground. They paused, but only briefly. Continuing deeper meant crossing rougher terrain and following an even less defined path, but they kept moving until they arrived at a second cave. Before they even entered, the smell reached them. And once they stepped inside, it immediately became obvious why locals had always spoken about this place the way they did.
Oh, starting. ये एंडरिंग है, यहाँ पर भी पड़ा हुआ है. ये तो किमान साल ला हुआ है. 17, 18 century ला होगा तो. 17, 18 century ला. होगा तो. पापा पापा ये तो बहुत ही बड़ा है भाई ये पूरा भरा हुआ है यहाँ पे यहाँ पर शायद ये पत्थर ऊपर से गिर के टूटाया होगा इतना बड़ा है
The chamber was filled with human skeletal remains. Skulls and bones lined the walls, and the arrangement did not appear random. The placement carried a sense of intention that suggested something deliberate. According to local knowledge, the site had served as a burial place for generations. The tradition involved allowing the body to decompose naturally before the bones were collected and transferred into the caves for permanent storage.
चलो अंदर तक घुस के दिखता लग रहा है पूर्वज लोग नाराज मत करना यति तो अरे यति भी खुशी से तो खुशी को सबले ये साबी खोज के देखो तभी भी ऐसे ना ऐसे तो तमोर दिखते ऐसे यति देखता
The farther they looked, the more they discovered. But they stopped themselves from pushing all the way inside, aware that the cave itself might not be stable. The weight of the location settled over everything. Eventually, they decided to turn back. The forest outside was already losing daylight, and none of them felt comfortable remaining any longer. Places like this exist in more parts of the world than most people realize, quietly holding on to history that never became part of any official record. What would you have done if you had been the one to step into that cave? Carson Bender is a 19-year-old hunter from Wisconsin who captured something on camera that easily could have ended far worse than it did. He was set up on private land near Nikusa, carrying out what appeared to be a standard turkey hunt. Decoys had been placed throughout a hayfield, gobbles were coming from multiple directions, and several birds were already moving toward his position. Everything was unfolding exactly the way he had planned. Then something changed. Not wanting to turn around and scare the birds away, Bender lifted his phone and activated the camera to check what was happening behind him. That was when he saw it. A bobcat estimated to weigh around 25 pounds, slowly creeping toward him with deliberate movement. The animal had clearly focused on what it believed was an easy target. For nearly an entire minute it remained in place, watching him trying to understand exactly what it was seeing. Then it finally committed. The cat lunged forward, made contact with his arm, and almost instantly Bender threw it off. The bobcat immediately turned and vanished back into the tree line. Wildlife experts explain that bobcats can sometimes be attracted by turkey calls, but direct physical contact with a human is genuinely rare. In most situations, the animal realizes something is wrong and backs away before ever getting that close. This one did not. Bender walked away without serious injuries, which, considering what had just happened, is the part that feels hardest to fully process. What would you have done if you had turned around and seen it approaching? The video comes from Shane and Annie Adventures, an Irish van life channel documenting real road trips across Europe, including both everyday travel and unexpected situations. It is April 2026 outside Seville, Spain. After struggling to reach the city, they eventually settle on an overnight park-up outside Seville. They move away from a more active area and choose a quieter, isolated car park beside an abandoned football field in order to get signal. While practical, the location exchanges visibility and safety for convenience. Once parked, there is very little surrounding activity, no nearby vehicles, lighting, or movement.
Hello? No. Gracias. Nada. So we are here. This park up is literally in the middle of nowhere. There was a motorbike down here at the very front, started flashing the lights at us. I don't know what he was doing. And then he pulled up beside us and he was like...
I thought he was saying, damn it, which means give me.
Yeah, I know.
And I was like, he wants money.
No, because he had his phone and he was like Uber Eats or something.
You should have said yes.
Oh, well. This is what I see if I was cooking. He was like, down in.
Maybe he's going to the French van.
Yeah, I think so.
Later, around 1 a.m., footsteps are heard outside. The sound is close and steady, suggesting someone moving around the van rather than simply walking past it. In a location with no visible activity, the presence becomes more difficult to explain. With limited visibility from inside the van, they are forced to rely entirely on sound.
Van was walking around the van, walking up and down. I did.
Because I just sleep anywhere. But now it's in my head. So let's go. This is like one of the first times we...
No, it is the first time.
Yeah, it is the first time that we have to move.
People say, like, when you have a gut feeling, just get up and leave because...
Turn right onto Calle Virgen de los Dolores.
The van and around the van, so I don't know what was going on. We're out in the middle of nowhere and there's nobody about, so I don't think he should be about at 1:30 in the morning. So we're going to go to the other park up, which is just around here, but we know there's like...
They decide to leave immediately. Still wearing pajamas, they start the van and drive toward a more populated area. The decision is made early before the situation can escalate or even be fully understood. This prioritizes control over certainty.
We've woken up here in our little park up outside Seville. That fella walking around our van, I don't know what he was doing, but at 1:30 nobody should be walking up and down and around your van, so we decided to move over here. We had a beautiful quiet night's sleep. It took us a while to get back to sleep, but it's time to get up, get an Uber, get into the city and see what Seville has to offer. We had to move back here this morning just to do a little bit of work because this is the only spot in this little town that has Wi-Fi. But last night we could hear somebody walking around here because this is like a gravel road and they were walking up and down the van, around the van. It just didn't feel safe.
The following morning they reflect on the experience from the night before. They never discover who was outside or why they were there. Although they briefly return to the area to get signal again, they completely rule it out as a place to stay overnight. Nothing truly happens, but that is exactly the point. There are no answers, only a strange situation and a quick choice to leave. In places like this, trusting your instincts can matter more than fully understanding the situation. Sometimes not knowing is already a warning, so would you stay to figure it out or leave before the situation becomes worse? The next eerie video comes from Desert Point Adventures, a US-based channel documenting off-grid camping and remote wilderness exploration. It is July 28, 2022 in Coconino National Forest, Arizona, United States. The couple sets up camp several miles from main roads. The site is deliberately secluded with no nearby camps, little traffic, and limited access routes. The terrain includes open land-scattered structures and water tanks, but overall visibility is broad and unobstructed. Isolation here is intentional.
To me, it sounded like somebody playing music from their phone.
Yeah, phone or like a personal speaker. We already had hiked down that road to do the geocache. No campsites, no people, and the road just dead end.
While hiking music is heard in the distance, the sound stands out immediately. In open environments, audio can carry far, but without visible roads or people the source becomes hard to identify. The gap between what is heard and what is seen becomes the key factor.
And then not too long after, Doug was just outside and we heard music playing in the distance. There's no other campsites around us. We didn't see anybody come down our road. It was just strange. And then we kept hearing the music kind of getting closer, like it was walking to the side of us. So we moved. And now we're here and it's really pretty. You would hear it and then it would stop. And it was like to me, it sounded like somebody playing music from their phone.
Yeah, phone or like a personal speaker.
And it would play for like maybe 40 seconds and then it would stop. And the next time it would play, it would sound like it was closer. And then it would stop again. We thought maybe somebody was singing really loud, like further away. But then when we started hearing it get closer,
They reassess the surroundings. There is no nearby movement, no lights, and no visible approach routes. The environment appears unchanged despite the repeated sound. This deepens the inconsistency.
On relatively rough road. You know, obviously Jeep people, side-by-sides, they're going to be coming through the main road, but then we took a side forest road. It's probably for just the rancher, whoever is leasing that land, to get back to their livestock. So really, was absolutely no reason for someone to come from there. We already had hiked down that road to do the geocache. You know, no campsites, no people, and the road just dead ends. There was no other road within a half mile of us, so it just doesn't make sense how someone was there, but right by our campsite.
if you get a weird feeling, you leave.
Listen to your gut.
Shout out to crime junkies. Be weird, be rude, stay alive. In a few hours, we have to head to Sedona. I have a engagement photo shoot there tonight. The couple's coming from Vegas, and this is the only day left that they can do the session.
Back on a relatively rough road, vehicle activity would be expected only on the main route. However, they had taken a side forest road, a dead-end path that leads to a tank likely used by a rancher to reach livestock. There is no reason for anyone to come from that direction. They had already explored that road earlier, finding no campsites, no people, and confirming that it ends completely. After checking their maps, there were no other roads within half a mile and no trails in the area. In a few hours, they planned to head to Sedona. The road ends in a dead end, and access is limited. Anyone nearby would have had to pass them or be visible at some point. The continued absence of a source leaves the situation unresolved. The sound is present, but its origin is not. Everything about this situation feels wrong. A clear sound with no visible source. Each part might make sense on its own, but together it does not quite add up, especially in an open place where you should be able to see what you hear. So, if you heard something like that with no one around, would you stay and figure it out or leave before it gets closer? On October 31st, 2019, the YouTube channel Action Kid uploaded a video showing a quiet nighttime walk through the Ramble in Central Park. The creator behind the channel is known for simply walking through different places around the world and sharing real-life experiences with viewers. But this particular walk did not stay peaceful for very long. Late at night, the creator, commonly called AK, entered the park, carrying a flashlight, slowly moving along one of the narrow trails. Almost immediately, the park felt unusually quiet. The only sounds came from his footsteps and the occasional rustling of leaves nearby. As he continued deeper into the Ramble, the silence started to feel heavier. After a few moments, the beam from his flashlight landed on a small wooden shelter just off the trail. Underneath it, someone was sitting silently in the darkness. The person did not speak or move much when the light briefly passed over them, but the farther he walked, the more uncomfortable the atmosphere became. After walking a short distance farther, AK began noticing several people standing together in the darkness. It was a group of around 7 individuals gathered along the path. For a moment, he may have thought about turning around, but that could easily attract attention. Instead, he chose what seemed like the safest option: continue walking as if nothing was wrong and pass them without creating a scene. As he got closer, one man from the group stepped forward and started walking directly toward him with clear intent. The tension in that moment instantly increased.
No, I'm not. I don't know where I am.
Can you turn it off?
Yeah, sure.
Fucking light you up.
Wow, this is scary.
For a brief second, he hesitated, not wanting to escalate the situation, and decided to switch off his flashlight. Sometimes the safest decision is not to react too quickly, but to remain calm and avoid attention. So, in a moment like that, would you keep walking or turn back?
Turn that fucking light up.
Okay, I'm scared now. Who would be wandering here? I'll just do the lowest setting.
That's it for tonight. Which moment creeped you out the most? Drop it in the comments. Have your own story? Share it with us, and stay tuned. The next one is even darker.